I want to share an insight into a Midrash, a rabbinic interpretation from this week's parasha that we all know, which I think sheds light on the great challenges we face in Israel and indeed organizationally and personally in our lives on a daily basis. And you know, we all know about the frog, the second plague. We know that the frog, it's mentioned so many times that God says, Moshe says to Pharaoh, I'm going to bring frogs and frogs in the land and frogs and frogs. And then when the frogs actually come, it says in the singular, Vata'al hatzfardeh, and the frog comes out of the Nile. And the Midrashim and the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin all try and understand, why is the frog in the singular? Of course, Rashi says on a simple literal level, it is referring to the frog as in all of the species. But the fact that only in one case it mentions frog, and many other times the pasukim before and after mention frogs, it's implying something about the singular nature of the frog. And of course, Rashi quotes the Tanchum in the Midrash with a strange Midrash, which it says that indeed there was only one frog which came out of the Nile, one massive frog. And how did it divide into many different frogs? When the Egyptians came and were so scared of this monstrous frogs, they would flog the frog and keep flogging it. And every time they flogged it, more frogs were created and more frogs were created. And every time they flogged the frog again, that's how the swarms of frogs were created. Now, a question I want to share. A friend of mine, Rabbi Kalman Top of Los Angeles today, and another friend of mine, Robbie Rothenberg, told me that this idea he heard from Rabbi Top, which I think is brilliant. Why did the Egyptians simply stop flogging the frog? If you see that every time you hit the frog, new frogs are created, so stop bringing about your own destruction. Why did the Egyptians not stop? And Rabbi Top said a brilliant insight, and I think goes to the core of life. So often we get stuck in our own concept. We can't stop flogging the dead horse. Not only is the horse dead, sometimes the frog is not only dead, it's creating new frogs which come to our own destruction. We get stuck in a concept. We can't get out of it. And we keep doing the same things we did yesterday, even those that produce the same results that we don't want. We sometimes have to stop hitting the frog and think out of the box and try and do things differently to meet the challenges of tomorrow. So much change has been taking place the last few weeks in Israel. All traditional parties are re-looking at themselves. New parties have been created almost every second day in Israel. And there's a real sense in Israel across the political board that everybody's re-looking at themselves, re-looking at their offering, and think how they can perhaps start doing things differently to address the situations of tomorrow. And may we all, not only just this election campaign in Israel, but of course in our own personal lives and organizational lives, never do things the way we did them yesterday purely because the way we did them, because sometimes that is indeed what creates new destructive frogs which bring about our own demise, but our own failures. But perhaps continue to look at situations in a way where we stop hitting the frog and we start looking at ourselves and situations differently to create creative solutions and new ways of thinking and actions to meet the challenges of tomorrow in our personal and collective lives. Shabbat Shalom.